Some of the losses we're seeing right now within the assignment market when it comes to Toronto pre-constructions closing now or in the last year are completely astounding, like crazy losses. And I've covered a lot on this channel. I've had a lot of people call me with a lot of sad, unfortunate stories. However, this one really caught my attention. And we'll go through it in a second, but before we do, I really want to tell you why this is happening, the circumstances which these assigning parties are finding themselves in, the people who originally purchased the unit and are in a bound contract with the builder, and really truly the damage they're facing right now. And this will make a lot of people who manage to close and are suffering all the same feel a little bit better, hopefully. Case in point, we have this example which someone sent to me. It's also online. It's gone a little bit viral. Seller taking massive $407,000 loss. Now, with an assignment sale, when someone's advertising as someone taking a loss, what you're really is essentially looking at is the difference of what they're looking to assign to you for and what they bought it at. Forget the deposit. They're certainly foregoing the deposit, as we will see. In a more moderate to cold market, not the frigid market or the glacier-like market we're looking at right now for assignments, but a more moderate to cool market, the loss stated in the subject, seller taking 70K, 100K, whatever, usually only purely refers to the deposit. Here, certainly deposit and some. So seller taking a $407,000 loss, an unheard of deal in Toronto's prestigious Annex Yorkville corridor. This one-bed suite is priced at a massive $407,000 below builder price point. A rare chance to own luxury at a fraction of the cost, some of the most coveted neighborhoods in the city. There's no question there. Bloor and Spadina, amazing neighborhood, right? It's Yorkville-ish, Annex-ish, it's kind of a gray area of it, I would say. So great area. But why is the seller, in this case, the person who originally purchased this unit and is selling the contract essentially to you, the contract between them and the builder, why are they taking a $407,000 loss? Let's take a look. Well, they're taking a loss because they are selling for an asking price of $550,000, as you guys can see here. A one bed, one bath, 476 square feet, with 76 square feet balcony, northern exposure, which they purchased from the builder for $957,000. So 476 square feet, $957,000. They essentially bought it nearly at $2,000 a square foot, which is something I discussed on this channel when someone called me saying, hey Sam, I purchased this unit at $2,000 a square foot. It was a different project. It was on Charles Street. And my mind was simply blown. The excesses of 2021, 2022 are really out of this world. The deposit they originally paid is $143,000, and this $407,000 loss they're talking about is the gap between the $957,000 and the $550,000 they're looking to offload it for. And this is not even including commissions and all the other fees and taxes, cap fees. And the expected occupancy is April 28th. Further deposit of $47,000. April 28th, if that is indeed the occupancy of this project for this unit, April 28th, 2027. $7,000 I think is referring to 2 installments or 3. This is probably the sum total of what the further deposits are, right? So it's not as if it's like one more $47,000 deposit. It's probably the sum total of a couple of deposits, if I had to guess, because a year and what are we in right now? In November, a year and 4 or 5 months out, you're not looking at only one more installment in terms of the deposits. But the only reason I'm talking about this is not just because of the big, huge figure of $407,000 loss. Yes, even though unashamedly, I have to put that in the subject and probably in the thumbnail to get you folks to watch. But it's also because I had another individual reach out to me from the same exact project, actually earlier this year, I would say 4 or 5 months ago. And they asked me, Sam, can you sell this for me? And I, in no uncertain terms, without hesitating, for an hour, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I told them I cannot sell it to you, and insofar as my opinion is, right, you have to consult your lawyer and legal professional. In most cases, better off trying to cut a deal with the builder. Let me tell you why. First and foremost, if you're able to cut a deal with the builder and just say, Mr. Builder, I am over my head, I can't afford it, I will not get finance for this. I don't have the money to close on this. I can't afford to close on this in 2027, 2026, whatever it is. Let me walk away and please don't come after my assets. If the builder actually cooperates with you in that regard, you're better off just losing, in this case, the deposit, which is around $147,000. Whereas selling it, you're going to lose $400,000. And this is where I transition into the second difficulty. Let's say by some measure you find someone to come take this assignment off you, because keep in mind, it's still, $550,000 for 470 square feet. That's still $1,000 and above per square foot. It's in a brand new building at a great location. And we'll talk about the project shortly, but surely you can argue it's Yorkville Annex, you should be paying that higher price, sure, but a lot of buyers with the 550 budget much rather go a little bit further east, a little bit further west perhaps, a little bit further north, a little bit further south, be in walking distance of Yorkville, be in walking distance of Annex, and get something better, larger for 550. But let's say you find someone that's going to buy this for 550. The builder has to consent to it. That's another thing people don't realize about assignment sales, and where even if you find a buyer, you have to get the builder to consent to it. The builder is not just going to let you sell to someone for 550 without them having any say whatsoever. First, they might say that's too low, actually. You have to close on this. Believe it or not, that does happen. Because if word gets out, what they sold to someone else for $950 is not going for $550. I'm sorry, it probably is not going to bode well for some of their inventory. Secondly, and most importantly, okay, sell it to this guy for $550. You're going to give us the rest of the money, right? Of course, Mr. Builder, we're going to give you the rest of the money. Okay, show me proof of funds. So they need some sort of guarantee they're going to get the $957 they sold it to you for. So there's a lot that can go wrong. Even if you're someone who looks at this as an opportunity, you come along, you buy it, you pay the purchase price of $550, let's assume you're not negotiating it whatsoever. If the seller is unable to pay the difference to the builder, deal falls through, you wasted your time. And listen, the location is a great location, not many residential condos there. There are some newer ones, but not many. But let's take a look at what you can buy as an alternative for $550, right? Keep in mind, they're still asking for $550 for 470 or so square feet. And I'm not saying that's outrageous out the gate in abstract. I'm just saying let's look at what else you can buy for $550 in that area or within reasonable distance. So Bloor and Spadina, let's kind of draw a circle here, perhaps of 1 kilometer radius. And we have these sales which occurred in that vicinity, mostly in actually 155 Yorkville and some in Cumberland. But for example, you have this one sale in 155 Yorkville in the Annex, sold for $539, 1+1 actually, so not just a 1 bed, 1 bath. In the 500s in terms of square footage, definitely above the high 400s. Still small, don't get me wrong, but an established building doesn't have the risks of a brand new building and a building that you don't know if it's gonna go through with the unit you're purchasing between the original purchaser and the builder. If we just ever so slightly shift this 1 kilometer radius from Bloor and Spadina a little further east, let's say, there's a bevy of options that open up in this region closer to Yonge. And this is where the true value is if you're looking at 550, right? Within the more immediate vicinity of Bloor and Spadina, we see most things that have sold for 550 are relatively equal, slightly better, slightly worse than what they're looking to sell, right? Purely based on the square footage, based on the risks associated, because we don't know the quality of that building. But once you shift a little bit further east, all these options open up. Some of them, like 35 Hayden, very, very sufficient, very passable building, has a homeless encampment outside. But besides that, which I don't personally care about, but a lot of people, they're worried about safety, so fair enough. But 35 Hayden, really good building, and affordable too. So you have sales there. You have options in 5 St. Joseph, which is all right. It's all right. It's a little bit dark. I don't know why the lobby is so dark, and some complaints about the units, have a little bit too much wear and tear, heavily tenanted, but it's still good. It's passable. 1001 Bay. I talked about that building a lot on this channel, but you really truly have a lot of options here if you shift a little bit further east. And really, from my business, I get calls every day about this stuff. I bought it at such and such price, my closing's coming up, I can't afford it, or I won't get financing for it. I'm not able to close on it. And the unfortunate reality is, I think time and time again, if you are able to work out some sort of arrangement with the builder, your best option, rather than assigning it, is to just walk away. In this case, $407,000 is a huge loss. $157,000 is a huge loss. The latter is far, far more palatable and lesser of the two evils, surely, if you're able to pull it off with the builder. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.